Hey guys, what's up? This is Dingo Crikey here with another commentary video. This time I'm going to be discussing a topic relating to Transformers 5. If you guys are interested in more news and commentary on Transformers 5, the Transformers 4 Age of Extinction toy line, or general Transformers discussion topics, then please check out my playlist and channel where I also have over 20 Transformers stop motion videos, some of which are previewed here. But this time I want to discuss whether or not I think Bumblebee will regain his voice in Transformers 5. So for a long time, a lot of people have been wanting Bumblebee to finally be able to speak again, and while it seemed improbable to happen in any of the other films, I think it's a good topic for Transformers 5 because it seems like there is a chance that it could happen, or at least it's open for debate. Just to let you guys know, this video will contain spoilers for the first Transformers film along with the Transformers Prime series. If you haven't seen Transformers Prime, and I would recommend watching it before you let it be spoiled for you, or the first Transformer film, and you're concerned about spoilers, you probably won't want to watch this video, though it shouldn't contain huge spoilers for either of them. With that in mind, let's get started. So, throughout the history of Transformers franchise up to the 2007 film, Bumblebee has pretty much always had a voice. However, the idea of Bumblebee being mute obviously really isn't new to his character at this point. I mean, we've seen 4 Transformer films where he hasn't been able to speak outside of the end of the 2007 film, and this concept was obviously carried over to his character in Transformers Prime. Originally, Bumblebee was supposed to have regained his speech after the events of the 2007 film, but the creators of the film basically stated that Bumblebee playing back recordings was such a fun idea that they wanted it to become part of his character. Basically, I see this kind of like code language for saying a voiceless Bumblebee is really cute and sells, so we'll throw sense overboard and go with the commercially successful option. Not that I hate that version of Bumblebee, but I think that was probably what was going on. And then in the Transformers Prime series, spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't seen it, Bumblebee regains his ability to speak after having it reformed by the Cybermatter, and being as the new cartoon is going to be a sequel to Transformers Prime, Bumblebee will have the abilities to speak, which would be pretty essential for him to be leader of a group of Autobots, unless they wanted to make it really awkward. I mean, maybe that could be kind of funny, but it wouldn't really work out for a good show, if you know what I'm saying. So, despite the beeps, bops, and infinite database of audio clips that Bumblebee has been restrained to for the past few years, we are seeing a return to his traditional character. It is important to note that in some of the recent comics, Bumblebee is able to speak. As I've said in previous videos, I've only read some Transformer comics, and while I have some in mind, thanks to you guys for making those recommendations, that I do plan to read sometime soon, I'm not really informed about them too well at the moment. However, I did figure it was worth mentioning that not every new rendition of Bumblebee portrays him this way, but it seems like most of the mainstream ones in the past few years have done that. We have also had Transformers Animated that didn't have Bumblebee like that, but in my opinion, Bumblebee was pretty different in Transformers Animated, at least he was pretty different from his character in the movies and in Prime, and also even in G1. I mean, in animated, he's a lot more mischievous. He has much more of a bad attitude. You know, he's kind of like Beast Boy from Teen Titans on steroids or something like that. With all of that said, the question becomes, will Bumblebee actually have a voice in Transformers 5? Obviously, nothing can be stated for sure due to the fact that the movie is very early in the stages of production, if even that, but I believe that the recent turn of events do open the door for some interesting speculation. For me, there are reasons to think that Bumblebee could have his voice in Transformers 5. I do have a theory, but it pretty much rests upon Transformers 5 having similarities to the upcoming Robots in Disguise cartoon. So, with Optimus Prime leaving Earth in the end of Transformers Age of Extinction, the Autobots will most likely be in the search of a new leader. As you guys who have seen it know, in Transformers Prime, the Autobots are also in need of a new leader by the end of the series. I think what we could see in Transformers 5 is a parallel to the upcoming Robots in Disguise cartoon in which Bumblebee leads the Autobots, which would pretty much require him to have his voice returned. In the film series, they could probably use some KSI technology to give Bumblebee a voice again. They could come up with some new concept, or they may simply ignore any explanations altogether, as we've seen them do in the past. If you want to hear more discussion on who I think would lead the Autobots in Transformers 5, as Bumblebee is not the only one I would consider to be a possibility, check out my video titled Transformers 5 Who Will Lead the Autobots. As I stated before, this theory does rely on the idea that there would be similarities between the movie and the upcoming cartoon, but we have definitely seen a swapping of ideas before. For example, Megatron's appearance and to some extent his story arc in Transformers Animated and also in Transformers Prime, the use of the Allspark in Transformers Animated, Bumblebee's design in Prime looks a lot like his movie version as well, Hound is pretty similar to Bulkhead from the cartoons, and certain characters are becoming a lot more prevalent in both movie and cartoon media, such as Shockwave was in Dark of the Moon, then we've seen him in Transformers Prime and in Transformers Animated, and Grimlock even appearing in the new cartoon after his popularity in Age of Extinction. So basically, we know that is within the realm of possibilities, and I think it would kind of make sense since that's where the movies seem to be going. Now, as much as it will make sense, and as much as certain people are tired of the movie type slash R2D2-ish Bumblebee, the big question is whether this would actually be done in the films. I think a lot of the skepticism would rightfully come in here. To put it into summary, the new image of Bumblebee is very, very popular with the mainstream Transformers audience, or mainstream moviegoers, and has made Bumblebee almost more recognizable than Optimus Prime. A lot of this audience might not be open or want to get used to a more developed and different Bumblebee, and being that the Transformer films are primarily made for profit, I think Bay, the writers, and everyone else on board is well aware of the riskiness of making a move like this. And for any legitimate Transformer fans who do like Bumblebee with all the beeps, bops, and, basically not having his voice, I could see why you might not want him having his voice again. I mean, I'm not a huge Bumblebee fan, so it's really hard for me to speak on that area, but personally I would prefer him to get his voice back so they can add something different to his character. I mean, he's kind of cool in the movies, but he really hasn't developed too much at all. I mean, he kind of has, but not being able to talk kind of hurts him, and it does get really repetitive. I mean, a lot of the things that were funny with him in the first few films, yeah, they're kind of funny by Age of Extinction, but in my opinion, it just feels like it's kind of the same old stuff over and over again. Like I said, it feels like they're more or less keeping Bumblebee this way because it's what sells, not really because they can make a better story of it. If they gave him a speech back, they could bring in some new characters like I'm always talking about, maybe bring in Rodimus and stuff like that, and have Bumblebee have conflict with these characters. I think that would be really cool. I don't know if they're going to go that direction. Like I said, the idea that he might be the new leader of the Autobots and that they might want to kind of parallel the things that are going on with the new Transformers cartoon kind of brings credence to the idea that Bumblebee would have his voice. But the fact that he's so popular with the way he is, I'm not really sure that they would want to make that change. So if I had to throw out some rough figures, I would probably say there's like a 40% chance that they would give him a voice in the film, and still that 60% chance that he won't have a voice at all and we'll still see him handled the same way he was in the other films. A 40% chance doesn't seem that high, but this is basically up from a 0% chance that there was in the other films, so I do think there's some chance there, but I wouldn't get my hopes up too high. Anyways, that's my thoughts on it. You guys can leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you think my theory's plausible? Maybe you have some other theory on how Bumblebee will get his voice back in the film. Maybe you simply don't want him to have his voice back because you really like the way he currently is. And maybe you even have some ideas for who you'd like to see voice Bumblebee if he is going to talk in the new film. Leave it all below in the comment section, along with any topic suggestions. Like I said, it could be just a general Transformers discussion topic, something relating to Transformers 5, news on the Age of Extinction toy line, or Robots in Disguise. Any of that, I'm open to it. So that about sums it up for this one, but if you're interested in more Transformers commentary videos, like I said in the beginning, you could go to my channel, check some of them out if you haven't already seen them, and also check out my Transformers stop motion videos, as I have a good amount of them on my channel. Anyways, that's it for this one. Stay tuned, and have a good one, guys.